Hey guys, my name is Serena. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you guys what books I'm planning on reading in August. I'm participating in 2 readathons in the Newts Magical Readathon. Since I've already participated in the Owls back in April, I'm of course participating in the Newts. And I want to participate in Mythathon. I will link the creators of these readathons down below. And what I want to say about Mythathon is, since I already have I think 7 books for my Newts Magical Readathon, I'm mainly planning on reading the group book of my team. And I am team water sign since I am a Cancer. And so I'm with TJ Reads the Stars, and the group book is Our Year of Maybe. So I'm mainly planning on reading this book. In total, they are 5 prompts, and TJ in his announcement video told us that this book can count for every prompt except the sibling bond, maybe, because he wasn't sure, obviously. So I'm gonna quickly read the prompts of Team Apollo or Team Water Sign with TJ Reads the Stars. And the first prompt is, Apollo is the god of music, so we have to read a book where music is the main theme in the book. So if a protagonist is a musician and if music deeply influences the story. The next prompt is, Apollo was attracted to multiple genders, so read a book with a pansexual or bisexual male character. Next is, Apollo is a twin, read a book with twin protagonist or a sibling connection, powerful sibling bond. And the fourth one is, Apollo is credited as the god of healing and diseases, read a book where the main character battles an illness. The last prompt is, read the group book. From the synopsis of this book, we can tell that it deals with illness, with bisexuality, and music. Maybe a sibling bond. If there isn't, we'll see. If during the month I find another book, I will read a book with a sibling bond and I'll talk about it in my wrap-up. But I have to say that I'm mainly planning on reading the group book for Mythathon, since for the Newts Readathon, I am reading 7 books. Yeah, so back in April, for my Owls, I read 10 books out of 12, and that was amazing for me because I never read 10 books in a month, so crazy. My career of choice is librarian, so what I needed to do is complete for the Owls Ancient Runes, Arithmancy, Defense Against the Dark Arts, History of Magic, and Transfiguration. I did that. So for the Newts, what I have to do is get an Outstanding in Ancient Runes and Exceeded Expectations in Defense Against the Dark Arts and an Exceeded Expectations in History of Magic. So that means I have to read 7 books for this readathon. For what concerns Ancient Runes, to get an acceptable, you have to read a recommended book by a friend or booktuber. And what I'm gonna do is, since I haven't read all of the books that were recommended to me this past spring by people on Twitter, I'm gonna read one of those books, and I decided that for this prompt I'm gonna read Moon Called by Patricia Briggs, I think. As always, I do not know a lot about the books that I'm planning on reading, but in this book there are werewolves and vampires, I guess. It reminds me a lot of past young adult, you know, with vampires and werewolves, and yeah. I think it's gonna be fun. To get an Exceeded Expectations in Ancient Runes, I have to read a book written in past tense. And for this one, I'm going with another book that was recommended to me in the spring. And I'm gonna read The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. So the first line of the synopsis says that a middle-aged man returns to his childhood home to attend a funeral. The genre of this book says that is magical realism and horror, so I feel like this is gonna be interesting since I don't read a lot in that genre. My camera stopped recording suddenly, so If there's a change in frame, that's why. But I was talking about ancient runes, and to get an outstanding in ancient runes, I have to read Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. I have started this back in June, but I have not finished it, and I really want to. It's about this girl who is going to college soon and she has great grades. It's also about podcasts, and maybe there are people in the LGBTQ community, and I'm so interested in these themes since this year I've also been very stressed with my academic career, so I need to finish this one. For what concerns Defense Against the Dark Arts, I need to get an acceptable and an exceeded expectations. That is hard to say. Exceeded expectations. And to get an acceptable, I have to read a book that is Black Under the Dust Jacket. And I'm going to read a book that I've acquired when I first started BookTube, and I thought that I needed to buy a lot of books to be a booktuber. So I bought an entire trilogy, and I left it here in New Jersey, so I found it here. And since I have not brought with me a lot of books from Italy, I want to try at least the first book and see how it is. It is Glow by Amy Kathleen Ryan. I haven't heard anything about this book. It was cheap on Book Outlet, and I think it's a science fiction. Yeah. Glow begins the most riveting series since The Hunger Games. Hopefully I enjoy this. To get an exceeded expectations, I have to read the first book that comes into my mind from my TBR, and honestly I'm thinking about all the books that you guys recommended to me, your favorite books, you know, from back in spring, and the first one that comes into my mind is Words in Deep Blue, and I think it's about this girl who leaves her town and comes back and things happen, maybe a romance, so I need to read this book. For what concerns history of magic, I have to get an exceeded expectations. To get an acceptable, I have to read a fantasy, and like for Glow, I am going to read a book that I've bought from Book Outlet way back in 2016, and it is The Nightmare Affair by Mindy Arnett. I have not heard about this a lot either. It is about this girl who is literally a nightmare, like literally. So it sounds interesting and I want to give it a try since I own it. To get an exceeded expectations in history of magic, I have to read a book that includes a map, and I'm going to read The Rhythmatist by Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson is very popular on BookTube. I haven't necessarily heard a lot about this book, but I have heard about other of his books, and since I only own this one by him, I'm gonna start with this one. It does include a map, the United Isles, and yeah, hopefully I enjoy this one because he is very popular. Anyway guys, those are all the books that I'm planning on reading in August. What are you guys planning on reading in August? Are you participating in any readathons? Let me know down below, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!